I've just seen Megalopolis, the first new film from acclaimed director Francis Ford Coppola since 2011's Twixt. Did anyone see that? Megalopolis has an impressive cast, starring Adam Driver as Caesar Catalina, Giancarlo Esposito as Mayor Franklin Cicero, Aubrey Plaza as Wow Platinum, plus a ton of other recognisable faces. This is described as a science fiction drama fable and has been in development for decades. It's ambitious, it's bold, but is it any good? What did I think?
When does an empire die?
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a vision.
About the future!
I've just been to see Megalopolis. Megalopolis, indeed. Where did I go to see Megalopolis? Well, I went to see it at the Arc Cinema, right here, near where I live. Just there it is. So Megalopolis then. Megalopolis. This is difficult. This is the most difficult summing up I'm ever gonna have to do. It really is. We gotta get out of here. We gotta do a pad on the door, on the gate. You gotta put a number in on the thing. I can't reach the thing. Oh my God. 699. First of all, I can't work out whether I hate it. There were moments in this which were pretty impressive, but there were moments in this which were absolutely self-indulgent wank, basically. On one hand, we've got a master art cinema. I mean, let's think about it. Let's go back a little bit. Let's take it back a little bit, and let's have a think. Francis Ford Coppola, right? I suppose if you've got a legacy like Apocalypse Now and the Godfather trilogy, and for me, like personally, Bram Stoker's Dracula, I just think that that's an absolute masterpiece. And then you look at something like Megalopolis. So we've got a master filmmaker at the helm here. I mean, we do. There's absolutely no debating that whatsoever. No debating it at all. Master filmmaker at the helm of Megalopolis. But then you go and watch it, right? Then you spoil it by going to actually watch the film. Then shit gets real, you know? Shit gets real when you go and see Megalopolis. Immediate reaction is that you've got to go and see it to realise how awful it truly is. Yeah, there are a couple of great performances. I mean, Aubrey Plaza, for example, I think she is the best thing in this. If we're going to break everything down, and if we're going to take everything at face value from what we've just seen in this, Aubrey Plaza is the best thing in it, hands down. And that's not like damning with faint praise, because she is great in this. Adam Driver is probably the next best thing in this, but everybody else, I don't know. It looks like most of it's been filmed on a green screen because nobody could be asked going anywhere or doing anything. And maybe that's not the case. Maybe it was filmed on big sets in big movie studios, you know, in glamorous places around the world, but it just looked like it was all filmed on a green screen. Imagine if an amateur theatre company had been given like $120 million. I do think this is what they'd make. And that sounds extremely cruel, but believe me, it's a mess. I'd say it was a mess, and I'd say that it was shouty. Very shouty. I mean, it is a shouty film. Yeah, I mean, I need to take this in for a bit, I think. I've got to digest it. You know what? I feel like I've eaten too much food, and I need to let it sink in, and then maybe later on I might eat, I might throw up. I suppose we've got a massive parallel drawn here with Metropolis, right? Obviously, even with the name, visionary, futuristic cityscape, Metropolis style, mixed in with a bit of Roman political backstabbing. Megalopolis is bearably unbearable. Maybe put that on the poster. It wasn't that good, but it was okay. But it was terrible, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, how do you make sense of that? If anyone can explain to me in the comments why this is a good film, then I want you to tell me why this is good. The craft that went into it is very evident, despite it all looking like it was filmed on a blue screen. You think of Star Wars Episode 1, right? Which is so fucking awful. And all of that was filmed on green screens. And it all looks so horrible and fake and awful. But at least that kind of adds to Megalopolis, that sort of fakeness. But then there are some visual moments in it which are interesting, you know? But I don't think we get to see, or we get a proper vision of Megalopolis anyway. It falls down heavily on the fact that if we're supposed to be on the side of Caesar himself, even though he's self-indulgent and, you know, all of that kind of thing, all he wants essentially is for people to go and, you know, all he wants is for people to live somewhere nice instead of an absolute shithole. And I can't really disagree with that, you know? Then you've got all the politicians and all the other political factions and blah, blah, blah involved in it, who are like, no, you know, it's always got to be about the people. It can't be about, you know, creating somewhere and then it being this utopia and only certain people are allowed there. You're basically going to isolate people if that's what you do. If you create somewhere like Megalopolis, it's just going to be, you know, just, well, think of the Hunger Games, for example. You know, they all live this lavish, extravagant lifestyle, whilst the regular people, regular folks, are just, you know, left to rot and kill each other and do whatever else that happens, all horrific stuff. So, you know, it's got all of that political stuff in it. It doesn't dive deep enough into that to be able to sort of let it roll as its main theme. And again, there's a lot of ideas that crash straight into each other during this film. A lot of really big ideas. And you know, you can imagine that that's the case from a person like Francis Ford Coppola, who's brought us films like Apocalypse Now, you know, The Godfather, all of those ones. And I suppose I need to go and see it again to make a little bit more sense of it. But if there's one thing I don't want to do, it's go and see this again. Absolutely no way. I'm done. I'm done with this. You know, I'm seeing it once and that's it. Once is enough. The strangest parallel I'm going to draw to this is that Megalopolis has got the same themes and the same ideas in it as The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Now, Megalopolis has also got a lot of Metropolis. Again, so Metropolis is a movie from Fritz Lang, who made Metropolis back in 1927, so quite a long time ago. So the description of Metropolis goes like this: a futuristic city, essentially, that is gorgeous and glamorous and has seemingly everything that somebody could want. But actually, on the underbelly of all of that is, again, you know, the rich and powerful are up there in their ivory towers. They're looking down on everybody else, and the further lower you get, the worse everything gets for the regular people. For a movie that was made in 1927, which is going to be almost 100 years ago now, almost 100 years ago, a film that was made a few months ago just can't get as deep as that at all. The cast, right? The cast you've got in this. I mean, the cast in this: Dustin Hoffman, Aubrey Plaza, Giancarlo Esposito, Jon Voight, Adam Driver, Lawrence Fishburne, and like just so many more. So Caesar Catalina is somebody who, he's basically an architect, a visionary, essentially. And he's got this ability, right? It's a sort of inception-y kind of ability to be able to sort of stop time I don't really know what that brings to this movie at all. It's a wasted opportunity because he doesn't really use it to forward the plot in any way. It's kind of useless, really. I mean, it's kind of a waste of time. There's no point in having that there. If it wasn't there, I don't think anything would be lost in this film. If he can stop the time, then what about and then go back and do the thing? It's just like, too many ideas thrown together that don't make any sense. Giancarlo Esposito, it says on the thing, is the arch-conservative mayor of New Rome. So Natalie Emmanuel, who I don't think I mentioned, actually, in the people who are in this, she's kind of Caesar's, well, girlfriend, I suppose, wife. They get together. Then we got Claudio Pulcher, who is Shia LaBeouf, who's back. He's just, here I am, I'm Shia LaBeouf and I'm back. He plays, it says, Caesar's jealous cousin. He's jealous of Caesar, and he wants the power. I suppose, again, for me, the best character in this is Wow Platinum. Aubrey Plaza plays Wow Platinum, who goes on to kind of marry Hamilton Crassus III, who is played by John Voight. He's the head of the Crassus National Bank. I mean, fine, if you're going to marry anyone, marry the head of the National Crassus Bank, who's kind of on his last legs. Absolutely fine. Let's carry on. We've gone through the people in this in a safe way. Let's carry on. Let's keep going. We're losing the light, folks. It's all getting dark. Like my soul after seeing this film. Some of the stuff with Adam Driver, some of the kind of cutaway stuff, the sort of nightmare dream sequences, I did nearly lol in the cinema. Well, it's not good. They are unintentionally funny, and that upset me as much as made me laugh, because it's like, well, it shouldn't be like that. Francis Ford Coppola film, if anything, shouldn't have unintentionally funny bits in. You've got to agree with me on that. So I don't think I'd recommend this. I think that before I went in to see it, I was like, well, okay, if this is terrible, go and see it anyway. Because you might find it funny. You might just look at it and go, oh my God, this is hilarious, what is this? But it doesn't even manage that. And that's a shame. Because if there was anything that I could have taken away from this, it would have been that it's a funny film with a great message. If anything, I suppose you can say that it's mostly rooted in the ideology of Hollywood. How those rich Hollywood film producers and film directors and all of that, especially the ones who are like millionaires, do you know what I mean? They are detached from the real world. And these are a group of people that everywhere they go, they're kind of worshipped by everybody that sees them. And again, that's fine, because, particularly Francis Ford Coppola, he's earned it, really. Despite whatever his political views are right now, whatever he thinks about society, blah, 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 fine, whatever. But back in the day, and, the guy that gave us those masterpieces, like The Godfather, like Apocalypse Now, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, and, many other films that people absolutely love, I guess he's entitled to indulge in his own art form. I mean, of course he is. But the fact that, there's so many good things out there. There's so many good films out there with so much meaning, and they all don't need $100 million thrown at them. Let's do a final comparison. Let's do a final parallel of this film. We're going to focus on historical sort of figures, people, and that kind of thing. Let's draw a parallel of Megalopolis to Oppenheimer, right? Let's do that, because this channel didn't exist when Oppenheimer was released, and if it did, then I would have gushed completely. I probably would have been in floods of tears. I might have even crashed the car because I wouldn't have been able to see because of the tears coming down my face. Because, Oppenheimer is, despite a couple of reservations, I've watched it 2 times now. Once in IMAX cinema, which was just astonishing, and another time, at home. So Oppenheimer is, it's a long film, 3 hours long. I think it's sort of just over 3 hours, I think. It's mostly people talking in rooms. And you see that for 3 hours or thereabouts. And it's absolutely riveting. It is. It's spectacular. And it's got this build up. It doesn't let you go. It does not let you go throughout the entire film. And essentially, like I say, it's a film about people standing around and talking in rooms. That's what happens in Oppenheimer. This, Megalopolis, it didn't need to be, and it didn't need to show us what it shows us, because what it shows us is what brings it down, I think. Seeing all of the ideas realised on screen, we could have done without that, because I think that's what cheapens it. I think that's what makes this less than what it could have been. If this was just a film about people standing around and talking in rooms, I think I would have been fine with that. If they hadn't have given us the visual stuff, because it doesn't add anything to the story, and it's not that good anyway. It's a real shame. I wanted to like this, or I wanted to hate it. And I kind of, it's just a bit lukewarm. It's not worth getting upset over. If this is Coppola's last film, then, well, that's a real shame. It's certainly not one of his best films. It's certainly not one of his worst neither. So there you go. So, yeah, like I say, just either don't bother with this at all, or hang on until it's on home video. It's much easier to press stop and watch something else when it's on at home than it is to make your way through it like you do if you're in the cinema. And I'm glad I saw all of this. Now I know that I can tell you guys, don't bother. Save your money, see something else. Go and see Strange Darling. If that's still on, go and see that. Go and see The Substance. Go and see those films, because those are the ones with the ideas. Those are the ones with the heart and soul. Those are the ones that you can really get something out of. So Megalopolis, out of 5 stars, probably 2.5. 2.5 stars out of 5. It's dark. I've talked for way too long about a film I thought was just a mediocre thing. So yeah, Megalopolis, ladies and gentlemen. Just maybe we could just go and see something else.